I thought love would save me, but it was the thing that destroyed me the most. I trusted the wrong people with my heart, my family, and my future. By the time I finally saw the truth, it was already too late. My name doesn't matter anymore, not because I forgot it, but because the person I used to be died the day I trusted them completely. I grew up in a house where love always came with conditions. If I obeyed, I was good. And if I spoke back, I was ungrateful. While my family never resorted to physical violence, their words cut deeper than any knife. My father used silence as punishment. My mother used comparison as control. I was never enough, not smart enough, not strong enough, not perfect enough. Still, I tried. I studied hard, helped at home, and stayed quiet even when it hurt, telling myself that one day they would be proud of me. That day never came. Then I met him. He felt like an escape, like breathing after drowning. He listened to me when no one else would. He called me special when my own family called me average. I didn't realize how dangerous that was. How quickly someone can become your entire world when your world has always been empty. At first, he was perfect. There were messages every morning, calls, calls every night, and promises that sounded like healing. He told me I was different from everyone else in his life, and for the first time, I believed I mattered. But love like that never stays pure. Slowly, he changed. Or perhaps he was always like this, and I was simply blind. He began controlling the trivial details: what I wore, who I talked to, and why I was online late. He claimed it was care, but it felt like chains. When I questioned him, he turned cold. When I cried, he dismissed me as too emotional. I stayed because I had nowhere else to go emotionally. Things worsened at home as well. When my parents found out about him, they didn't ask how I felt. They asked how I could disgrace them. My mother said I was ruining my future. My father said I was becoming a failure, like the people he despised. I was trapped between two worlds, one that controlled me with love and another that controlled me with shame. I started losing myself. I stopped sleeping and eating regularly. I stopped talking to my friends because he convinced me they didn't care about me the way he did. Every part of my life became smaller, tighter, and darker. Then came the night everything broke. I saw a message on his phone that wasn't meant for me. "Don't worry, she still believes everything I say." That one sentence shattered something inside me. My hands shook as I read more. There were other girls, other promises, and other lies. I wasn't special. I was just another name in his collection of control. When I confronted him, he didn't even deny it. He just gave a small, cold laugh. "You're not the only one," he said, "but you're the easiest to keep." Something inside me went silent after that. I didn't scream or cry in front of him. I just stood there, staring at someone I thought I loved, realizing I never knew him at all. When I went home that night, my mother looked at my face and simply said, "I told you so." Bugs, Mossats. No comfort, no safety, just judgment. I locked myself in my room and sat on the floor until morning. My phone kept vibrating with his messages, pretending nothing had happened, while my mother knocked on the door, demanding I fix my attitude. In that silence, I understood something painful. I was completely alone. Not because nobody was around me, but because nobody truly saw me. I looked at my reflection in the dark window and didn't recognize myself. My eyes looked tired and empty. I whispered to myself, If this is what love does, then I don't want to be soft anymore. I made a decision that night. I wasn't going to break anymore. I was going to become something they could never control again. The next morning, I acted as if nothing had changed. I replied to his messages with short, emotionless answers, just enough to keep him comfortable. He didn't even notice the difference. At home, the silence felt heavier than any argument. My mother kept talking about my future as if I were already a failure. Every word felt like pressure pushing me deeper into an inescapable hole. Days passed, then weeks, and slowly, everything fell apart. I couldn't focus. My mind was constantly replaying his lies and my family's criticisms. I started making mistakes at work until my manager finally called me in. "You're not yourself lately," he said. "We can't keep you like this." Just like that, I lost my job. There was no drama, just a simple sentence that erased everything I had worked for. I walked out of the building feeling hollow. The world outside was too loud. People were laughing and living their lives while I stood there with nothing but the weight of everything I had lost: love, family, stability, and myself. That night, sitting on my bedroom floor, my phone lit up with a message from him. "Miss you." It was almost funny how someone could destroy you and still expect access to your heart. I realized then that I didn't just hate him. I hated myself for staying and for believing him. I stood up and looked in the mirror. I had let them do this to me. Toxic people exist, but they only stay if you let them. For the first time, I stopped blaming them and started looking at myself. Why did I accept less? Why did I confuse control with love? The answer was clear. I had no boundaries. I was raised to obey, not to question, to please, not to protect myself. My biggest mistake wasn't loving him. It was losing myself in the process. I considered disappearing forever, but a memory of my younger self, smiling and full of hope, stopped me. I couldn't give up on her. A deep, quiet anger settled in my chest. "They don't get to decide who I become," I said. I picked up my phone and typed, "Do you really think I'm that easy?" He replied seconds later, "What do you mean?" I smiled, finally feeling a sense of real control. "You've been underestimating me," I wrote. I didn't wait for a reply. I turned off the phone. This wasn't about him anymore. I was done being the nice one who got destroyed. People respect power, not kindness, and I refuse to stay weak. Real change is painfully slow. It starts in the silence. I began by cleaning my room, throwing away every note and gift he had ever given me. I held the bracelet he used to claim I was his and dropped it into the trash. "You don't own me," I whispered. That was the first step toward quiet detachment. I stopped reacting. When my mother criticized me, I didn't argue or defend myself. I just listened and walked away. This confused her. "You think you're better now?" she snapped. I looked at her calmly and said, "No, I just stopped needing your approval." I started rebuilding myself piece by piece. I read and learned, not just about skills, but about people, manipulation, and boundaries. I realized that toxic people study your weaknesses to use them against you. If I understood people, I could stop being a victim. I took small jobs to build something for myself. I changed my hair and my style, not for revenge, but to finally see myself clearly. When I caught my reflection again, I didn't see weakness. I saw control. Months later, I ran into him. He looked the same, but when his eyes met mine, he froze. He sensed the shift. "Hey," he said, walking toward me. "I didn't expect to see you. I've been thinking about you. We had something." I tilted my head, watching his discomfort. "No," I said softly. "You had control. I had confusion. I stopped being easy." He muttered that I had changed, and I simply agreed. He tried one last time, accusing me of acting like I didn't care. I looked him directly in the eyes and told him the truth. I don't. I didn't need revenge because I had already taken back everything he stole: my energy, my attention, and my identity. I later found out that his life was falling apart. His patterns had caught up with him, and he was no longer in control. For a moment, I felt a dark satisfaction, but it was quickly replaced by clarity. Revenge isn't always about hurting someone back. Sometimes it's watching them fall and realizing you no longer need to be part of their story. That was the real glow-up: emotional distance. Winning felt quieter than I imagined. There was no applause, just a steady peace. I have a stable job and a life built on routines. I speak less, and people listen more. I am no longer the person who needs validation. At home, I stopped participating in the old toxic patterns. When my mother called me cold, I simply told her, "I just learned where to stop giving." I have become careful, perhaps too careful. I lost the version of me who loved without fear, and I may never get her back. But I gained self-respect, boundaries, and a strength that doesn't need to prove itself. I stopped trying to be loved by everyone and started choosing who deserves to stay. Standing in front of the mirror now, I don't see a victim. I see someone who survived her own mistakes. My love wasn't the mistake. Giving it to the wrong people was. I know when to walk away, when to stay silent, and most importantly, how to choose myself. Not every battle needs revenge, and not every ending needs closure from others. Sometimes the real victory is walking away with your self-respect intact. In the end, I didn't just win against them, I finally chose me.